Starting Tech News Weekly in 3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tech News Weekly. I'm Andrew Zarin. I'm joined by John Bub, as I am each and every week. How you doing, John?
Hey Andrew, what's up?
You're getting ready to move. You're going to leave that beautiful apartment of yours.
I know, I'm so disappointed.
And
I put in so much time in creating everything that you see.
You know what I would love? Next week when you have like the new apartment, the new place. It's like the green screen is like literally the place in Saw where they keep people like captive. That's really what I want it to be. I want the green screen to be just like grimy and dingy and like sewer people like.
House of Horrors.
House of Horrors. John Bub in House of Horrors. Yeah, it'll be a great storyline. Yeah, listen, John Bub is an everyday man. He just walks around town, and then at night he becomes Suncast, and he's the worst person in the world.
You'll get to see the real version of Andrew's basement.
Yeah. I would love, here's a great idea.
That he keeps me in.
I got it. Ready? We're going to do double green screen. So you're going to be like, listen, my life has been a lie. You got to pull this down. It's going to be like a sewer. You're like living in the sewers.
So I got to do one that's a blue screen and one that's a green screen.
Yeah. You got to do two of them. One that's blue, one that's green. Here it is. I would love to see that. Oh, man. Yeah, next week, we're not going to be on. John is moving. We had a rough couple of weeks. John was sick. I got sick. John's moving now. So we're also planning a lot of changes to the show. We're going to change the entire format. We've worked out a couple things. We're not just going to do tech news. We're going to do tech tips. We're going to do viewer submission tips.
If you guys have any ideas or suggestions, you should email us.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of changes here. So this is probably going to be the last week that we're keeping the traditional Tech News Weekly format. We're going to do product reviews. So a lot's happening. We want to revamp the show. We want to keep you guys interested in what we're doing. So, stay tuned for a lot of good stuff coming your way and our way, too. Today was the big day. Two big things happened today. One, the Samsung Galaxy S6 came out. It shipped. I have one here. I will be reviewing it at the end of the show. I've only had it for a couple
hours. You're going to
make
us wait?
I'm going to make you wait. That's what they do, guys, on TV. I only had it for a couple hours, so that is my disclaimer. I'm going to say that again before I start the review. This is going to be a first impressions type review on this phone. So I'm going to say that for the end of the show. Also, the M9 from HTC came out today. On top of that, Apple Watch pre-orders starting at 3 a.m. this morning. It seems like the smaller one is now back ordered till June. So people have been ordering this. A lot of people are excited for it.
Yeah, it's very interesting the way that they did this too, because this is not a traditional product launch for Apple in the sense that everything is being done online. You can only pre-order online, and you can actually only order online once it launches, I guess.
So wait,
there's no lining up at the store for the launch of this product.
Okay, but eventually you're going to be able to go into an Apple store and purchase.
Eventually, yes,
yeah.
But even when it launches, you're not going to see people lining up at the Apple store simply to buy one. You're going to, in order to buy one, you have to go to the Apple website and order one. Okay,
so why do you think that is? Because a lot of the PR with these Apple devices, a lot of the allure has been just, the local news goes down to the Apple store and they see this line and they're interviewing people. Obviously,
it's great for media.
It's great for media, absolutely. I mean, there was one week that you went down to an Apple store when it launched. I believe when the 5 launched, you went down to the Apple store.
Yeah.
And you recorded video of the lines and what people are doing. Or it might have been the iPad announcement. I'm not too sure, but I did the same thing for the iPad too. So there is this buzz around it, and it actually does make it look more limited. Maybe they're not trying to do that. Maybe they're worried that if they make this seem like it's a very limited device, people aren't going to go out to try to buy it. I'm not too sure what the strategy is here. Regardless, they're going to sell a tremendous amount of these watches.
I think it's quantity, to be honest.
Yeah. You think they just
I don't
limit
think
it?
they have a large quantity like they do for iPads and iPhones.
Yeah, also, there's a lot of problems with these the lineups. We've heard about the scams that people do where it's like 40 people lined up in the first line. They're waiting there for literally a week, and they're buying these things and selling them off to another country. That happens a lot here in New York. And if you go to an Apple store, and I'm not going to generalize now, but I kind of am, right? You'll see, and this is what I saw this happen first place at their flagship store in the city. And the iPhone was coming out. I'm walking by. The first 20 people lined up in the front row were older Asian women. I don't think they're buying it for themselves. I really don't. I mean, you're talking like much older women. So there is this weird scam that happens with these devices. Same thing with sneakers. If there's a launch for a product, if something's going to be high in demand, there are schemes, there are weird things that happen with them. Maybe it's a way to kind of eliminate that also.
Just people being entrepreneurial.
Yeah, but it's also a lot of these people are forced into waiting. It's not their choice. There's some weird stuff that happens with these launches. But regardless, they are back ordered for the big one, for the 350 one, the one that's going to sell a lot. I don't know, John. You're an iPhone user.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go and bash this device. I don't want to say that it's not. I mean, yesterday I did a T4 show with Michael Manna, and I was kind of honest about how I feel about this thing. And my point is, it's going to sell a lot. Right now, it's not for me. I'm going to wait for the next 2 generations of this device. What will it take for you to go and say, you know what, I want an Apple Watch? If you could have it your way right now, what is it missing? What do you want to see on this device?
See, I'm the totally wrong guy to ask something like this too, because I'm not a watch guy, period.
But it doesn't matter. It has to appeal to you in order for them to be successful with this device.
But I'm not an average person when it comes to this stuff, because I'm not even interested in like the Fitbit type of stuff.
You're not the nutritional.
No, I'm not
kind of stuff
not interested in any of the health monitoring stuff, any of the Fitbits, or any of the other similar devices. So even an Apple Watch doesn't necessarily get to me.
But see, this is going to be the uphill battle for them, because unlike the iPad and unlike the iPhone, this device does not appeal to everybody.
No, but I do think there are a couple of areas where, if they can improve it, it will be a much more enticing product to somebody that's a little bit on the edge.
Okay.
One of those areas is, of course, the battery and the charging function of it. The fact that you're still going to have to charge this thing daily, I think that's a big hurdle to overcome. I'm not somebody that likes to have to charge everything every single day. That's just really annoying and inconvenient. So that's going to be one of the big hurdles that they have to overcome for me personally in order for me to even remotely be interested in a device like this.
So to me, the charging, if I have to charge it every day, I'm okay with that. If I have to charge it every 6 hours, I am not okay with that.
Yeah.
That's where my issue is with it.
And I think it needs to be more practical, I think. I'm a practical kind of guy, and I see this more as a novelty than I do anything else. Yes, it'll have some health sensors on it, but it still seems like, even for an Apple product, it's a very compromised Apple product. And yes, you could say that about the first generation iPhone, where it didn't have, all the features that we have today. But things have changed so much that we now expect Apple to deliver and over-deliver on a product when it launches. And unfortunately, this is not a product that is going to over-deliver on its first generation.
Yeah. Listen, for me, I'm going to wait. If I were to get this, I don't have an iPhone as my daily phone anyway, so regardless, it's not 100% appealing to me, but I'm not against the idea of an iPhone. I'm not against the idea of a smartwatch. Right. I personally don't think these devices are where they should be at this current time. In 2 years, when they add more sensors that do more analytics and more statistics on your everyday vitals, and it's a little bit better of a design instead of this big clunky piece of glass on your wrist, that's when I'm going to kind of be appealed to this thing. Right now, it's a novelty item. It's it's a buzz item. You buy it if you're geeky. You buy it if you're
Fashion item.
you buy it if you're you like getting the first gen. You want to be the first one to get it. I don't see.
I mean, there's a lot of parallels you can make between this device and the first generation of iPhone.
Absolutely.
And that's not to say that, the iPhone is a great device now, but at the same time,
It's a first gen device. Plain and simple.
Nobody had the expectations of Apple when they launched the first iPhone.
Yeah.
Now they have massive expectations for any product that they launch.
And that's been, I mean, when we did the coverage, John, and that was
That's
something that I was saying.
they have to deliver to with every product that they launch now.
But the problem is the expectation at times, it's unrealistic.
Sure.
And this is the
But do you think it's
greatest
unrealistic
example.
for the Apple Watch?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. The expectations are unrealistic because of rumors and what we think Apple is. We think Apple is a visionary when it comes to design. We think they have something that other people don't. To some extent, maybe they did at one point. But in 2015, the playing field is totally equal. Unless a manufacturer's buying up all the chips or something, like something like that. But Apple cannot come up with this radical curved glass design like what we have been seeing in these rumors for years. They cannot come up with that because the technology is not there to be an affordable option for people. Right now, that is not an option. And if it was, we would see Samsung doing it, Motorola doing it, HTC doing it. All the other manufacturers would be doing this. The reality is we're not there yet. This futuristic device does not exist. And that is the uphill battle Apple has because the expectations are set way too high when it comes to Apple with a device like this. People want to see this, oh my God, what is this? And in reality, you're not going to get that.
I'm also curious about what constitutes a success and failure in terms of a smartwatch.
Oh, they're going to, you know what? They're going to be so successful with this thing. It's going to be the number one selling smartwatch of all time.
But
they're going to announce millions of smartwatches sold. From what I had read at one point, their number was 8% of iOS users. That's what they wanted.
However,
I could be
what if
wrong
this
there.
is a product that Apple determines, 2-3 years down the road from today, that they decide, okay, we've taken this product as far as it can go, and we want to go in a different direction. They no longer do an Apple Watch.
Yeah, that's a possibility. That could
Because
happen.
yes, it could be initially successful, just because of the Apple branding. But what if 2 or 3 years down the road they decided to completely go away from the Apple Watch, no longer want to update the Apple Watch?
That could happen,
That still
but
constitute as a failure then.
the reality is that won't happen, but that's a possibility. It's a first-gen device. It's a major risk. And it's a first-gen device in a market that has not been proven to work.
That's why I'm a little skeptical about the longevity of this product. Is this something that will exist 5 years from today, such as the iPad?
You know what I predict? In 8 months, they're going to come up with the second-gen
Because
version of this.
even the iPad today is a product that looks like it might have hit its peak.
Yeah, what do you do? What do you do beyond it?
This could be the first generation Apple Watch, could be the peak of the smartwatches.
Yeah, listen, no, I think the smartwatch market will continue to grow as the idea of design
but it could be
changes.
third parties. It might not be Apple doing it.
It may not be Apple doing it. I anticipate Apple's going to be a major force in this market, but we'll see
Sure,
what happens.
of
I mean,
course.
it's a very interesting division right now. It's a very niche device. Remember, the only people buying this are iOS users that would be interested in having a smartwatch, and that's when you get a little bit more. When you're targeting such a small market. It could go either way. But I think it's going to be a major success. They're going to sell millions of it. They're going to talk about it. And the next version and following version are going to be even better.
Right.
I mean, that's how that's the reality of what's going to happen with this device. Are a lot of people going to be interested? Not right now. But you know what, John? When that thing is a curved glass and it's more like a not a watch, but like a cuff. It cuffs around your arm. That's maybe something that people are going to be interested in.
Maybe.
That's going to be the future of this device. Right now, it's the infancy of this thing. It's the first thing. Nothing is proven. We don't know where it's going. We just have to wait and see what happens.
Right.
I want to talk about YouTube's ad-free video subscription. This is fascinating to me. Google announced that YouTube's Music Key streaming subscription, they had announced it last fall, and an ad-free video service that also is being said that it's going to come out. Bloomberg comes up with reports that it's a prepaid plan to nix the pre-roll ads. And
yeah, it's basically a subscription service where you pay Google money or YouTube money, and they won't have any pre-roll ads on their videos anymore.
So what happens to the YouTube people that are making money with pre-rolls?
That's something nobody knows yet.
Yeah.
The details right now are still very light, but it looks like it is coming this year, according to this report.
So this is interesting because their entire, I guess, foundation for YouTube monetizing has been those pre-roll ads. So when you take that away,
there's always going to be people out there that are willing to pay for something like this, and there's going to be people that aren't willing to pay for something like this.
Yeah, I probably would.
What would be interesting is to know the percentage, the breakdown of how many people do pay for this and don't want to pay for this.
I also think this is going to be people are going. If I were to guess, I think the big brands would get this first that are being paid by YouTube, and it's going to be your choice if you want to disable ads.
It's not. You're saying that paying for the subscription isn't going to be site wide. It's going to be channel specific.
It may be channel specific. It may be.
And I think that would not work out right.
I don't know. I can't understand how the YouTubers are going to make money if 10% of the viewers are.
But I also think that it's going to be confusing if this is a subscription service where they say you can pay to remove ads on YouTube, but it doesn't actually remove ads site wide.
Well, how about this? Non-partner ads.
I think that to me, I would at that point I'm like, why even bother? You're still going to get bombarded with ads eventually.
John, are they putting ads on every video, or can you still opt out from having ads on your video?
I think you can still opt out.
You can.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out if what they're going to do is say, oh, instead of opting out, you have to opt in now to have ads. You know what I mean? Like if you could actually disable the ad-free viewing for certain partner accounts. So the partners still make money. It's just the ones that are not partners, the ads are disabled.
But I think that just really screws us up.
I don't know
because
how they
whole premise, the basic premise of this is you pay YouTube money and it removes pre-roll ads from videos. But if it doesn't do that for every video, well, then are you really getting what you're paying for?
I don't know. We don't know much about it, and that's the thing. By creating a new paid offering, it'll generate a new source for revenue. Yeah, but how about the revenue for the YouTubers?
Maybe they break down a percentage of it based on how many views
views you're getting, so they're still compensating you based on that. I guess so. I guess they could do that.
But I think that's just absolutely ridiculous. That's a whole Hulu type of debacle where you pay Hulu money for their Plus service and they still show you freaking ads.
You know what? I'm not against that. I hated it at first, and I was one of these people that spoke vocally about how I was not a fan of what Hulu was doing. But since using Hulu a lot more, I'm totally okay with those ads. I have no problem with it because the benefit of Hulu is not watching ad free. It's having the content from these major networks immediately on Hulu. The other thing that really sucks about Hulu, and I discovered this last night, guys, and I didn't know this was a thing. So if I'm on my Apple TV, not my Apple TV, my Amazon Fire TV, right? Because I didn't try it with Apple TV. What I am watching on that device is not what I could watch online through a browser. Did you know that? That some stuff is not available if you're watching through a set-top box app. It's only available via the browser.
That's just bizarre in itself.
It's insane, actually. So I wanted to watch season 6 of Archer, and I knew it was on Hulu. I remember seeing it on Hulu, so I went and I go, nope, season 5. I go online in my browser, it's right there. Even if you add it to your queue list, if you queue it up, it does not show up. That's bizarre to me. Why would they do that? Why would they limit it? Because there's no other place I can see it.
There was some sort of like decision to not encode it or stream it through one of their servers that would be compatible?
I think it's more of a, we don't want you to watch this on TV. We want you to watch. If you're watching on a laptop, it's not really competition for the networks, because you really can't watch the networks on your laptop. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to take away
But
from
Archer
cable.
is one of those shows where it's got its own cult following, and it's not a normal type of show.
But they seem to do that with a lot of shows, which I'm really shocked about.
I mean, that Archer is a completely different beast of a show compared to anything that you would see on CBS or ABC.
Yeah. But on the other hand, you know, Scandal, which is a top-rated show on network programming, it's readily available the day after it's done on Hulu. So I was shocked to see that. It was actually quite bizarre. It took me like 15 minutes to try to figure it out and see what was happening. So
now is this YouTube subscription service something that you would be interested in paying for if it removed the ads?
You know, here's the thing, though. A lot of people have ad blockers. So it is removing the ad unless they turn around and say, well, if you have an ad blocker, you can't watch any videos like Hulu does.
That's annoying.
And that's a possibility. You have to disable the ad blocker in order to watch anything on that website.
I've started to dislike Google more and more lately. Some of the stuff that they've created is just really annoying. There's just one thing called Google Surveys, and I've noticed more sites using this now, especially news websites, where they'll use Google Surveys, where it'll actually black out content on a news website unless you say skip this survey or take this survey.
Yeah, it's a little aggressive.
I think, you know what? That's just ridiculous. That's
I have to tell you, it's I don't know. I'm curious to see what happens. I'm very curious to see what they do with this and how they kind of work it out, because someone is going to get screwed regardless. It's just a matter of
and this almost also comes up to the point of entering the era of too many paywalls, where so much stuff is behind a paywall where it just becomes too costly to do things on the internet.
Look at what the Wall Street Journal does. Look at what you got to pay to read an article. New York Times does that. Even like certain television news channels, if you are not on the ISP, if you're not on certain ISP, you cannot access the content on that site. New York One, if you do not have Time Warner, you cannot access that website, which is insane. If you think about it. So who knows?
I mean, I'm not completely against paywalls or anything like that, but I'm somebody I'm a cheap guy. I don't like to pay for a lot of things unless I really do value it.
Yeah.
And there's good value for stuff. I'm somebody that I'll look for deals before I get something like the HD home run that I bought. I waited like 3 or 4 months before I found the right deal for this sucker at the price that I wanted to pay for it before I got it.
Yeah, and you got it. You waited.
Yep.
Cheapo. Let's talk about the Roku. Roku has updated its players. Both the Roku 3 and the Roku 2 have gotten an update, and the Roku 2 has gotten a tremendous update because it is now the same exact internals as the Roku 3, but it's much cheaper.
It's keeping the same price as the Roku 2. It's still $70, but it's going to have the same internals and same CPU as the Roku 3.
And the Roku 3 is a very good device. Very quick. I still think it's probably the best device out there. I'm a fan of the Amazon Fire. Yeah, I realized that there's a lot of limitations with certain applications on Amazon, and the same goes for Apple TV.
Part of it is the way you use a device. I think for people that are a little bit more hands-on, Fire TV is great. Because one of the things that I love about my Fire TV is that I can sideload apps on this thing.
Yeah,
that's freaking amazing. You can do that to a degree with the Roku.
What are you sideloading?
Developer options. What's that?
What are you sideloading?
Kodi.
Okay.
XBMC.
Okay.
And I actually have that connected to my HD home run.
Yeah.
So I can watch live TV through my Fire TV, which is amazing. It works so well.
Yeah,
it's amazing how well it works. And it's through Wi-Fi even. I don't even have a network cable plugged in, and I don't have any issues.
Yeah, that's actually amazing. It's a great, listen, the Fire TV is a great device. I choose a Fire TV, but as far as a overall what you get the most with is the Roku. As far as the applications and the channels, and Pretty much every single one of these apps are
I think
supported
Fire
on Roku.
TV is hot on its heels, though.
It is, but the problem is
Especially
they've
in
not.
terms of speed.
But John, they have
'Cause-
not updated this thing for a while. And
To me, and I have both the Roku 3 and the Fire TV, the full size Fire TV. I believe my Fire TV is so much faster than the Roku 3 that it almost pains me to use the Roku 3.
and that's the same problem I have.
TV.
I can't go back to the Apple TV after the Fire TV because it's so fast. But
Right.
I'm a little concerned because we have not seen developers make these, FX Now, Fox Now is not on there. A lot of these major brands are not on there. NBC is not on there.
Those brands are always really slow to adopt these set-top boxes, though. I mean, look at how long it took them to even get on Roku, because some of them took years before they decided to make a Roku app.
Yeah, so Roku 2 and 3, major updates.
They also launched a new voice remote, which is the big feature for the new Roku 3. Is that you're also getting this remote that has voice control features on it now, much like the Fire TV remote where you can speak and have it do things. The new Roku 3 with the Roku 3 voice remote is going to do the same thing where you can tell it to do searches and actually dictate stuff instead of actually having to peck out each letter on a keyboard.
Okay.
You can just dictate to it.
Okay, here's my question. Here's my question. What is it searching exactly?
Like what services?
Mm-hmm.
That I'm not unclear about. I'm not sure about that, because that's not something that I normally do. So I don't know firsthand what it's searching. I don't normally search on my Roku.
So I
fact,
search
I don't
on
really
Amazon.
use the Roku at all. My dad uses the Roku.
See,
I don't.
I search on Amazon and I use the voice search all the time. But you know what the problem is? It only searches Amazon.
Yeah.
I can't find it on Hulu or any of the other applications.
If you happen to have an older Roku like I do, they said that the app on your iPhone or Android phone will also have the voice search capability.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. So I don't actually have to go get a whole new Roku to have the same capability. They also have one more feature that they're adding to the software. It's called Feed, which is a tracking service. So let's say you want to track the price and release and news for a movie, such as the SpongeBob movie. You can actually now track that, and it'll tell you when it's available to stream and if there's any price drops.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's not bad.
So it's going to provide greater discoverability for stuff that you're interested in, which is really cool.
Yeah. Let's talk about Comcast a little bit. Comcast's new broadband service is twice as fast as Google Fiber. They're launching a service that will compete with Google Fiber, and it's launching at 2 gigabytes per second.
That's up and down.
Up and down, symmetrical. It's called Gigabyte Pro, or Gigabit Pro.
Yes.
It's going to arrive next month in Atlanta and be available to 18 million homes in the U.S. by the end of the year. The package will deliver symmetrical upload and download speeds like fiber does, but it's going to be twice as fast. And
yeah, they said that they're wanting to do a much larger rollout than Google Fiber, because Google Fiber is, extremely slow to roll out, and Comcast wants to roll this thing out fast. However, even though they said that this is going to be available in a month, they have absolutely zero pricing on this product yet.
Yeah, I'm curious about the pricing, but this is a good sign because this is creating competition. People are freaking out, and they're saying, oh my God, we got to upload up our speed. Except for Time
I'm
Warner.
extremely mixed on this, because on the one hand, the fact that they're actually doing a service to compete with Google Fiber, and it's going to be 2 gigabits per second symmetrical, that is absolutely amazing. However, knowing Comcast, they're going to charge you an effing arm and a leg for this thing.
Yeah.
Comcast Business Class is their business class service. So expensive for how little you get. For example, for the same service that I have now, 50 megabits per second down, I'm paying roughly $50 per month for that service. That's 50 down and 10 up. If I were to move to business class and get anything close to that same speed, I'd probably be paying $120. So I'd probably have to pay $70 more than a residential service.
Yeah.
So taking that into account, how much are they going to charge for this Gigabit Pro service that's 2 gigabits per second up and down?
Yeah, I think in a trial area, they're not going to be able to price it at that crazy high rate because it'll be a joke. But I do.
I wouldn't put it past them. I think the minimum that they're going to charge you for this is $300 a month. I think that's the least that they would charge for something like this. I'm guessing it's probably going to be closer to $500-600 per month for this service.
I'm curious. Let's see what happens with that.
I would not. You might get a little bit of a break if there's a competing service such as AT&T fiber service or Google Fiber. But that being said, I think in areas where there's not any competitions for something like this, it's going to be a bare minimum of $300.
You know what's amazing though? I'll tell you something.
Because that's what they even charge that for, like their 105 megabits per second service.
I'll tell you something. Fios came into town, and everybody thought it's over for Time Warner. It wasn't over for Time Warner. People don't care.
No.
Most people have no clue what's happening and what their speeds are. They don't even care for the speed. So we'll see what happens with this.
By the way, business class is such a pain in the ass to deal with. In fact, I'm pretty pissed off at Comcast at this point because we're moving, and I had a office for my parents.
Yeah.
They had a contract with Comcast, and they said that we just want to end it all. That was like 2 months ago, and they still have service running there, even though they said that they're done with it and they wanted to end the contract and pay everything out. Even though they've done that, they still have service in their office.
Unbelievable. All right, John.
And their moving service is so stupid. Those commercials that you see on TV.
Oh, the way it's easy. Yeah.
Yeah, they say, oh, it's so easy. You just go online, do, and it's all done. It's such a piece of cake. That is not the experience that I had when I set up my move. I spent probably 40 minutes on the phone talking to some woman in India who I could barely understand and wanted to upsell me on every single service that they offer.
What were they trying to upsell you?
2 or 3 times that I did not want any of these services.
But what is it, like the home security?
I just wanted to set up
home security, insurance on your electronics.
They wanted to upgrade. They wanted to sell me on every single package for cable. They wanted to upsell me on my internet, and they wanted to upsell me on home security.
Yeah. I don't really care for any of that from them. Thank you.
I don't care for any of that. And even though I actually told the woman no initially when they went through the options of moving my service, she still asked me 2 seconds later and tried to force me into those services.
Yeah, listen, they're pushing.
I spent 5 minutes telling the woman that I didn't want home security service.
Yeah,
and I'm not even exaggerating. It took me 5 minutes to explain to the woman and convince her that I did not want home security.
That's great. That's how it is. That's what they do. All right,
so
John.
that commercial is an outright lie, in my opinion.
You heard it here, folks. With that said, John, why don't we?
I'm a little pissed off with Comcast.
I see that. You're very upset. Calm down.
I'm not even sure that when I do move, that I'm going to have the services that I've requested.
What did you? Why? What wouldn't you have?
I'm not sure everything. Well, they said that they had issues with their system, so I'm not sure that everything got pushed through correctly.
They're going to give you like a shoestring and a tin can for your phone.
I'm not even sure there's going to be anything.
Yeah. All right, let's.
I'm completely serious. I'm not sure that when I move next week, when I get to the new location, that I'm going to have TV and internet.
Unbelievable. All right, let's go into our review, John.
Okay.
I got a phone, and it is the Samsung Galaxy S6.
Oh, look at that ugly thing.
It's actually beautiful. It's a pretty phone. Look at that. Oh, let me see if I can switch the camera. How do you switch here? Oh, crap.
Come on, figure it out.
There you go. There you go. So here it is, guys.
Enough.
The Samsung Galaxy S6. I'm going to do a quick little review of it. It's actually a very nice phone. It's very similar to an iPhone, overall design. Look at that. The camera is pretty good. So a couple things about this that people have been talking about. They really like the Touch ID.
That's just the same. The Galaxy S6. It's not the Edge, correct?
No, it's not the Edge. I did not get the Edge. I got the
it's a regular Samsung Galaxy S6.
So I'll start off with the Touch, the fingerprint scanner. Touch ID works much better than this. I've had it for a couple hours and it's still a little tricky with getting it to kind of recognize every time you place your finger on it. You really have to finesse it and get the right spot. That's a little
typical of any fingerprint
sure.
sensor.
Yeah, it's not as good as the Touch ID.
That's not just Samsung Galaxy S6. I've heard people with the iPhone have that sort of issue.
The camera is very good. The front-facing camera is really good. The front-facing camera is really good on this thing. They have a Pro mode, which is really good.
These are just your first impressions, right? You haven't done a full review. You haven't really taken it out to do full testing yet.
No, I'm going to do that this week. Probably this week, and I'll do more of a detailed review of it. It has Pro mode, which is really good and really handy. I used it a couple of times. It has something interesting called Download Boost.
Hey, you're getting a call.
I am getting a call. I have no idea who it is either because nobody has his phone number. It has something called Download Boost, which will... it'll use both LTE and Wi-Fi to download a large file, anything over 30 megs. So it speeds up the download process. I think that's pretty cool.
Is that something that is an option that you could disable if you didn't want that feature?
Yeah, so it's disabled.
So I imagine if you're very conscious about your data usage on LTE, you might want to disable that.
Yeah, so that
sounds like
off.
a great feature.
Mine is off right now.
Okay. So there is an option if you wanted to disable
it's automatically disabled. Yeah,
okay.
So you have to enable. They also have advanced calling, so you could turn that on. Advanced calling is their higher quality. You do advanced audio and video calling.
Oh, that's the voice over LTE feature.
That's the voice over LTE, but it's also video over LTE, which is great.
Okay.
That's pretty cool. Everything else, honestly, it is a Android phone. It's running Lollipop. It's very good. For me, the main thing was the camera. I really want this phone to have a good camera. From the testing that I've done so far, it's actually pretty solid, the camera. The fact that I have all these manual settings, it's very good. If you're someone that, is not really that tech savvy, they have an easy mode on this thing. So you could just set it up to easy mode, and it's just standard, just a couple apps, and that's it. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it, except for one little issue. When I got this thing and I started it up, and I started downloading all my apps, the thing got so hot I could no longer touch it.
Oh, wow.
And the metal, because it has a metal on the side, it was so hot it burnt my finger when I went to touch it. And
so you no longer have any fingerprints.
I have no fingerprints
anymore. That's why
anymore.
the fingerprint sensor doesn't work anymore?
Yeah, that's exactly why. It got really hot, and I don't know if it was this initial thing that it did where, it got really hot at first because it's trying to do so much and trying to learn so much. So I need to do more testing with this thing. The quick charge is very good. It charges exactly how it's supposed to. Just the basic functions of the phone. It looks like Google. It is much better than the S5 and less bloat too. It doesn't have all the bloatware that you normally see with Samsung devices.
That's really good.
And it allows you to remove them or disable them. So if you go here and then you go to edit, this is actually cool. You could actually remove applications right from this list here rather than having to go and remove the applications. But there's still some stuff that you can't remove.
iPhone.
Much like an iPhone, there's still some stuff that you can't remove, you can't delete, but you could disable. You could disable the application from running, and so that's pretty good. Overall, I am very satisfied with this over the last couple hours. It's not fair for me to do a full review and tell you this is a great phone. These are just the things that I've observed over the last couple hours. So this week, I'm going to do more of a detailed review of things that I've discovered, things that I like, things that I don't like, and I'm going to start putting out some tips and tricks with using this device and getting the best overall experience that you could. Overall, it's pretty decent. Cool. I cannot complain about it so far. Just the thing that when I first got it, it was so hot. It was like burning my hand. I was a little concerned that there was something wrong with it. Right now, it's been sitting there and it's fine. So, and that's it. The Galaxy S6. That's my pick.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'm glad that I got a flagship for my Verizon phone because this is the first time that I've actually bought the phone that I should have on Verizon. I always get the secondary, maybe they don't know something about the LG. So I did a couple, also in the camera, guys, they got really cool shooting options. Different modes. So they have selective focus, panorama, slow-mo, fast motion, virtual shots. So you could actually do a 3D virtual, I guess, shot of everything in the room, and you could like go up and down, like those virtual tours. Surround shot. They got sport mode, food. There's a special setting to take photos of food. You can make an animated GIF. You could do sounds and shot. And there's something called download, where you could actually download applications or different modes for your camera, which is actually interesting that you could do that. They're going to be putting up more and more of these applications and different, different modes to use and shoot.
Are those going to be provided by Google or
no,
Samsung?
There's Samsung, because Samsung has their own app store.
Okay.
But
it's not going to be like just third parties that create things and shove them out there, and you don't know if they're actually decent.
No, these are Samsung. These are done by Samsung.
Going to be officially provided by Samsung.
Yeah, so their app store also is interesting because they have Samsung S6 specific applications that they've put out only in their app store. So that's another thing that I want to play around with a little bit more and see what I could grab from there. But overall, it's exactly what it is.
Now, what phone did you have previous to this?
The LG G2.
The G2, okay.
Yeah, and that was really, it was getting long in the tooth. I mean, it was not a good experience whatsoever.
It's so funny how even just a year, technology changes.
Oh yeah, I got it last November. November? No, it was. What was it? Was it last November? Or the November prior? It could have been the November prior, but it was when it came out. It was supposed to be the best one. It came out with the S5, and I didn't get the S5 because people told me this is a better camera, better phone, and it was not. It was actually awful. The experience was awful.
And people said the same thing about the S5.
And people said the same about the S5. This one I actually really like. This is going to be my everyday phone right now until I realize that I hate it, and then I'm going to complain about it. So we'll see what happens.
We're going to start a pool.
Yeah.
What month is Andrew going to hate his new Samsung Galaxy S6?
Yeah. A lot of people were interested in the Edge. I did not want the Edge.
I'm going to pick June right now.
You pick June for me to start hating the phone. Okay, what month do I start looking for like ROMs to put on this thing? When do I do that? Next month.
2 weeks.
Yeah. All right, guys. That's my quick, review of the device. We're gonna chop it up and put it on. Yeah, first impression. We're gonna put that on the website. Probably today. John could probably do that. Where it's just my first impression of it. We'll see how it goes, and I'll do more of a real review this coming week on the website. But other than that, that's it for this week, guys. We're done with the show. Go to our website, gfknetwork.com. If you miss any portion of the show, obviously you can catch it archived there, or anywhere podcasts are available. You can catch the show there. You can follow John on Twitter at Suncast. You can follow me at Andrew Zarian. You can follow the GFK Network at GFK Network. Also, if you want to help us out, you want to chip in a little bit, we have a Patreon page, patreon.com/whatthetech. You could tip us there. Accept anything, quarters, nickels, dimes, whatever you want to do. A lot of people are doing $1, a lot of people doing 25 cents, and it helps us along with the shows. Also, we have an Amazon page. If you go to gfk.co/Amazon, just bookmark it, and whenever you buy something on Amazon, we get a tiny little credit with that purchase, and it helps us with these upgrades because we're going to be doing a lot of changes in the studio for this year. You could do, save that. Is there anything I'm missing, John? I think that's it.
I think that's it.
We'll see y'all next week, guys. Take care.